Hi, I'm Derek O'Reilly, and for over 30 years I've been a licensed London taxi driver. For 20 years, I taught the knowledge to prospective London cab drivers. During this podcast, I'm going to be joined by experts who are going to bring the forgotten and secret history of London to life. Today I'm joined by an old friend, and we're going to have a look and a discussion about the oddities, unusual places and things you might find in London off the beaten track.
Hello, my name's Vic Norman. I run a series of historical pub tours of London, 11 different tours, and you can follow me on Facebook, London Pub Tours, or go to my website, www.londonpubtours.weebly.com.
Hi Vic, nice to see you again.
You too?
Now, last time we met, we talked about pubs.
We did.
Do you know what we're going to talk about today? Quirky and odd things you might find in London.
Plenty of them.
You begin.
Oh, it's knowing where to start, isn't it? And I don't know if this is the same with other cities in the world, but there just seems to be so many just odd, bizarre, quirky things that when you find out about them, you're so happy that they exist. And then there are so many that you walk past all the time and never knew that they existed.
Absolutely. I'm finding more all the time. Every time I'm out there, something else crops up. Or you meet someone and they get me in the back of the cab and they say, oh, did you know that or that? And you go, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, so I've spent 15 years as a kind of researching and touring London and offering various different tours, and you've spent a long time,
absolutely,
knowing all about London. Between us, we don't know everything.
Interesting fact.
Yeah.
Did you know London had electric cabs as far back as 1897?
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, they called them hummingbirds. They only lasted for 3 years, and they were like a black and yellow livery. But with all that's going on now with greener vehicles and whatever, got a lot of forethought there. So let's talk briefly about the bridges. Let's talk about some of the strange stories of London's bridges. So the Ladies' Bridge.
Yes. Yeah.
Waterloo Bridge. Do you know why it's called the Ladies' Bridge? Well, no,
I did. I'd heard the story a long time ago and forgotten about it.
Well, effectively, the story I was told or was given was that the bridge was started to be built in 1939, prior to the outbreak of the Second World War. Obviously, once the war broke out, all the male labour was called up. So the remaining building work was carried out by women, and that's why the bridge is currently was nicknamed the Ladies' Bridge.
Right.
And if we move along, where would you find a small cathedral looking like St Paul's on what bridge?
And I think there's a couple of little things on that bridge as well. And every now and then it pops up on, I'm a member of a few sites on a few groups on Facebook that talk about odd things in London. And that picture comes up, but I always forget which bridge it's on.
It's on Vauxhall Bridge. You've got to lean over to see it because it's on the upward stream parapet. It's on about the second metal stanchion up.
Right.
But, incredible. And you don't get as close a view as you might do with a picture of it, but still worth seeing.
How far do you have to lean over? That's my worry.
No, you won't fall in, I promise you. But you've got to lean over and look over, otherwise you won't see it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it got there or why it's there, but anyway.
Yeah, it's like the ones on Holborn Viaduct. Or the little statues. If you look over, you see knights and various different things.
Yeah, what's the story of those? Do you know?
It was built in 1869, Holborn Viaduct, and it's got the Ladies of Fine Arts, Agriculture, Science, Commerce, but then it's got a winged lion holding I'd like to think it's holding a football. It's probably not holding a football. And you've got knights' heads, and then you look over and you see other kind of curious things as well. It's a lovely place.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you tell me? Give me some interesting stories.
Are we still on bridges?
No, we can come off the bridges. Anywhere.
Come off the bridges?
I think because it's quirky. We'll be quirky. We'll be quite random.
Although one bridge, the only bridge in London that has a funicular railway.
Go on, tell me more.
Millennium Bridge. North side of Millennium Bridge, there's a funicular railway Who knew?
Oh, right, yeah.
I mean, it's only about 10 foot.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of a lift that goes down like that. Like a proper funicular.
Oh, right. And you know why one bridge is green and one bridge is red when we talk about Lambeth and Westminster?
Yeah, and I love that story. And the fact that they still carry on painting them those colours because of this, the benches in the House of Lords and the House of Commons.
Absolutely.
Yes,
so
wonderful.
Westminster Bridge is green because the seats in the House of Commons are green.
Yes.
Lambeth Bridge is red because the seats in the House of Lords are red.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great story. Great story. Smallest police station.
Right. Okay. I do know this one, and I point it out on one of my tours, though technically it's been decommissioned. It's that strange round-topped brick, call it almost like an outbuilding in the south east corner of Trafalgar Square.
That's it, yeah. I don't think it's used as a police station anymore, but once upon a time it would have been. And while we're on the subject of the police, when I was on the Knowledge, a place called the Metropolitan Police Coat Hook used to get asked on a regular basis. Now, it's on the corner of Great Newport Street and Upper St Martin's Lane.
Yeah.
And effectively, I think it's the only one remaining, but obviously before we had traffic lights, traffic was controlled by a policeman who stood in the middle of the road.
Yes.
And in good weather, he didn't need his cape, so he would take it off and hang it on a police hook. And obviously, with the advent of traffic lights, that all disappeared. But the one hook is remaining, and it actually says property of the Metropolitan Police. So, worth having a look at next time you're in the area.
I will look that up, yes.
Yeah. What about the deepest underground station?
Yeah, no, I know this one, Hampstead.
It is, yeah. A lot of people don't realise that. And faked fronted houses.
Yes, I've walked past these and they're beautiful. And you wouldn't know at all. No. Had you not known the story and you'd walked along the front of this street, the front of it, you'd never guess, would you?
No, Leinster Gardens.
Leinster Gardens.
Yeah. And apparently TfL still pay for the upkeep because they were put up because obviously the posh residents of the area didn't like the idea that there was a steam railway running underneath. Obviously now it's the underground. So these terraced houses actually hide the tunnel that transports the railway.
Have you been around the back and seen it from the back?
I haven't.
You can just look over the wall and see it, and you can see wooden props, kind of diagonal wooden props propping up the front of this, and then part of the railway going into the tunnel underneath.
Right, next time I'm in the Bayswater area, then I'll park the cab up and go and have a look over. Yeah, good stuff. Let's see what else we've got. We can come up with all this sort of stuff. Oh, Bosside statue. There is a
I didn't know this.
Yeah, there's a Bosside statue on New Fetter Lane, junction with Fetter Lane. It's a statue of John Wilkes, and John Wilkes was an MP and obviously a Lord Mayor of London at one time.
Oh, was he?
And I've driven past the statue many times, but I popped in the other day and thought, let's have a quick look at him. And he is definitely boss-eyed. Whoever made the statue, I don't know whether they did it deliberately because they didn't like him or...
I mean, maybe he was boss-eyed in real life and it's an accurate portrayal of him. I don't know.
Absolutely, it could well be, yeah.
What about London's largest and then London's smallest public square?
No, go on.
So Lincoln's Inn Fields is London's largest public square.
Right.
And the smallest one, tiny, and I don't know if you've been there, you can't get a cab down there, it's down an alleyway, Pickering Place off St James Street. Down the side of Berry Brothers and Rudd.
Yeah, I've been down there because I believe there's a plaque down there because that's where the Texas Embassy used to be.
So as you go down that passageway towards Pickering Place, on the side of Berry Brothers and Rudd, there is a plaque to the Texan Embassy because Texas was its own country for a few years.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's its only state, wasn't it? Yeah. Here's another one that catches everybody out.
Yeah.
Where would you find the Long Water?
I'd always said it would have been in Hyde Park.
You're quite correct. As you go over the Serpentine Bridge, everybody presumes that the Serpentine flows under the bridge and continues onto the other side towards Kensington Gardens. In fact, it doesn't. The Serpentine ends at the bridge, and the water on the other side of the bridge is in fact called the Long Water. It's not the Serpentine.
It's not the same water?
It is, but it changes its name.
Oh, it's just
called the Long Water.
Right, like a long road can be called two different things, one side and the other.
Yeah, the Long Water.
Speaking of roads, did you know that up until the mid-1990s, the City of London was the only city in the world with no roads?
I didn't.
So nothing called road, up until 1990s, nothing called road, something road, exists in the City of London until 1994, and they fought tooth and nail not to accept a third, I think it's either Chiswell or Goswell Road, possibly Chiswell. They had to take that road, and so it was something called road, but nothing called road up until then.
Yeah, no, that figures now. I'm sort of racking my brains driving through the city, and you're quite right. Everything is a street or an alley.
Yeah. Or something else. It was famous thing up until the mid-90s anyway.
Yeah. Another one, nobody could ever answer this for me, but as you come through Admiralty Arch, there is a nose on the arch.
Nelson Sparenose.
Well, I've heard all different stories about it. I hear that it was put there so that cavalry could rub their hands on it.
Yeah.
And it was rubbing noses.
Like a sign of luck?
Well, it could be. Nobody's ever given me a definitive answer. And I believe there are some noses dotted around Soho as well.
Well, you're referring to the Seven Noses of Soho.
Yeah, tell me about those.
Well, the Seven Noses of Soho were put up by a local artist, I think, 1996, Rick Buckley. His surname was Buckley anyway, possibly not first name Rick. And he put them all around Soho, and it said, if you see all seven noses of Soho, untold wealth will be yours. This can't be true, because if there's a tour, and I know that the tour guide's not that wealthy. But yeah, this other one is not technically, well, it's not even in Soho, is it?
It's on Admiralty Arch. I've seen it. I've heard all different stories. You know, they said it was to rub Napoleon's nose in it, and all various things, but nobody's given me a clear, decisive answer.
I've heard it called Nelson's spare nose, but I don't know why he would need a spare.
Right, OK, now let's talk about Nelson then, and back to Trafalgar Square. Do you know which way Nelson's looking?
Which way Nelson's looking?
Yeah, on the top of his statue.
I'm going to say, just like the ships on the Mall, that he's looking to his fleet.
Absolutely, that's what he's doing. For those that don't know, on the Mall, the lampposts that light up the Mall have little ships underneath them, and it's called Nelson's Fleet.
Yeah.
And he is looking towards his fleet, but also down towards Portsmouth. If you were to follow a direct line, it would be the A3 sort of heading down towards Portsmouth.
That's why those ships on those lampposts are an odd angle.
Yes.
You know, they're all pointing down to Portsmouth.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Yeah. A lot of people don't see those ships. When you're driving down, I point them in the taxi. You know, sometimes if you've had a arduous journey or something, it brings a bit of light-hearted relief.
These are the wonderful things that make up our city, aren't they?
Absolutely. Now, something I found out quite recently was the story about Millbank Prison. Now, I knew there'd been a prison along Millbank near where the Tate Britain is now.
Yes.
But apparently, up until 1868, that is where you were transported for crimes committed to foreign colonies, like Vanderman's Land, which obviously became Australia.
Tasmania, as well,
And the ships left from there. Apparently, in 1862, the prison had a massive outbreak of cholera.
Okay.
So they closed it down, and I think transportation gradually died out of favour, didn't it?
Yes, we stopped creating new Australians in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But isn't that's why, or rather, that's one of the possible origin stories of the word POM. So POM's, so it was an acronym, Prisoner of Millbank.
Right. Yeah, well, that could well be why the Australians call us POMs, because I presume they thought at one time we're all prisoners of Millbank. Yeah. Probably not wrong in some cases. Yeah. But the funny thing is, and you've alluded to it a minute ago, a lot of these stories are still shrouded in mystery even today. And we'll come on to a few more in a minute. And, one person will tell you one reason why, and another person will tell you something else. So I always take it all with a pinch of salt. The stories are always interesting and fascinating.
Well, why spoil a good story with facts?
Yeah, most definitely.
What's that hotel in Mayfair, famous hotel in Mayfair? I'm trying to think.
Brown's?
No, not far from Bruton Street. Forgotten the name of it, but room 212, Winston Churchill declared it to be Yugoslavia in the war. You know this story?
I don't know this story, no.
I've forgotten the name of it's come down from Bond Street and you come down to famous Claridge's.
Oh, in Claridge's.
Claridge's, room 212. So the royal family who had kind of left Yugoslavia at the time, and Crown Prince Alexander II, his wife was heavily pregnant and she wanted to give birth to Crown Prince Alexander III or whatever on home soil. So they shipped in earth from Yugoslavia, threw it under the bed. Churchill said, "This room, 212, it's Yugoslavia, mate." She gave birth and then he turned it. I mean, at least that's what Claridge's say. It's possibly apocryphal, but why spoil a great story with facts?
No, absolutely. Well, talking of Churchill, we have a lot of ghost stations on the tube, stations that have closed down. They're dotted around the place. But one of interest is in Down Street in Mayfair. So Down Street comes out onto Piccadilly, at the very top end of Piccadilly there, near Hyde Park Corner.
Okay.
And there was a station there on the Underground called Down Street. It closed in 1932 because it hadn't been used very much anyway. But during the war, that was the war bunker for Winston Churchill and his cabinet.
Okay.
That's where they used to have their meetings. I mean, there are other ghost stations, which we know the Aldwych has got one, which is used a lot in films. And there's one on York Way in Islington, which is called York Road Station.
I just wonder why they didn't use Whitehall, because they had plenty of...
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe it's
war
because
rooms, Churchill's war rooms.
Well, that's where he was based. But when they had a cabinet meeting, it might not have been big enough, you don't know. But the tube station obviously was, and that's where he held them during the war. Now, we were talking a few minutes ago about different stories. Now, another one that comes out on the knowledge quite a lot is the two mice or two rats in Philpott Lane in the city. What's your take on that?
Well, okay, so this is the answer to the quiz question, what is London's smallest statue?
Yeah.
Is this, if you can call it a statue. And it's difficult to find, really, because it's high up and it's not very small, it's not very large, rather. Two mice fighting over a piece of cheese. Yeah, the smallest statue. And I'd only heard... You said you've got a couple of stories. I've heard one story, which was there was a fight between people who perhaps working in that building over their lunch, and
that's one I've heard.
So famous, or maybe so violent, that it was immortalised forever in this little statue.
Yeah, I think somebody. I don't think they necessarily died, but I think they were quite savagely beaten over this argument over the cheese roll at lunchtime. I think it happened with the builders while the building was being built.
Yeah.
And they put these two mice there up on the wall. I don't know whether the builders were doing it as a laugh or whatever the case may be. But I have heard another darker story.
Darker than almost beating somebody to death?
Well, yeah, even darker than that. I was told that in fact, they're meant to be two rats, because that is the point where the Black Death finally ended. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's, again, like we said, it's a nice sounding story.
Right. It's like where the Great Fire ended. Well, you know the story, that story, and why they came to blame it on the sin of gluttony.
Yeah, I do, on Cock Lane. But you carry on, because I had a job there the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, a young lady from up north to a hotel, and I showed her the statue, and I had to be careful.
The golden boy.
I had to use the word like he weed on the statue, and not, be gentleman.
Yeah, so... because the Great Fire started in Pudding Lane, and because it finished in Pie Corner, which is in Smithfield on the edge of Cock Lane, started with pudding, finished with a pie, sin of gluttony. So that's
right. And they've put a nice gold statue up there.
They have.
Having a wee to put the fire out.
And there used to be a pub, actually, behind that statue. And it was famous because most of its guests were dead. So the body snatchers used to ply their trade around there
that's
and
lay
out cadavers in the back room, nip across the road to the hospital, alert the surgeons, and they'd come over to kind of experiment on these kind of freshly dug up bodies. Very
interesting patch around there, because just around the corner from that is the only statue of a certain king in London.
Yes, yeah. There's scaffolding and tarpaulin up at the moment, so you can't see it if you wanted to go and look at it. But yeah, of King Henry VIII. But it's actually, as the only statue of King Henry VIII,
exterior statue, I should add.
Exterior one.
It's the only exterior statue.
Where is there an interior one?
I believe there's one or two inside buildings or something.
Right, okay.
But I don't know where they are. But I know external statue. That's the only one of him. It's not actually a very nice statue.
It's not. Either. It looks kind of like a dumpy 5-year-old.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, no, nor was I.
But you know why Smithfield's called Smithfield?
You tell me, and I'll tell you another story about it in a minute.
Okay, well, I'll tell you the story I know. It came from the Smooth Field where they had tournaments and jousting.
Ah, right, yeah.
So is that what you...
Well, that's what I've heard, because just around the corner from Smithfield in Cowcross Street is the Castle Pub. Now, that's the only pub licensed to act as a pawnbrokers.
Yes, I know.
Do you know, again, a story?
I do know the story, yeah. I've gone in there. So, and if you go out, you can see the 3 golden balls, the sign of the pawnbrokers hanging from the pub. So at one point, the king and his men went out on a long day hunting, and they came back to London hungry and thirsty, and they called into the castle. And the king walked up to the bar and said, look, I'd like food and drink for myself and my men. I'm the king. And the barman was kind of polishing his glasses or whatever. So, yeah, sure you are, mate. And he goes, no, honestly, I am the king. Look, I'll tell you what, I'll leave you my watch as security, and you give us food and drink. And in the morning, I'll send over money from the palace. How's that? And the barman or the landlord says, yeah, fine, okay. And true to his word, king sent over money, got his watch back, and then granted them the license to be a pawnbroker.
Yeah, it's more or less a story I've heard too. So there must be some truth in it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Let's have a little think, some other bits and pieces that we can get the people interested in.
Well, what about Burlington Arcade?
Yes.
Burlington Bertie. It's a very, very strange kind of archaic rules and regulations about what you can and can't do when you enter Burlington Arcade.
Right. I know you're supposed to be quiet.
Yeah, so you can't run. You can't open an umbrella. I mean, why would you? It's indoors anyways, and it's a covered walkway. And you can't whistle. No, it's illegal to whistle in Burlington Arcade.
That I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, only two people in the world are allowed to whistle in Burlington Arcade. One of them is Paul McCartney, and one of them was, well, at the time, a 10-year-old boy who wrote off and said, I would like to whistle, whatever. I've whistled in there just because I'm a rebel. So, but I mean, not legally allowed to do that.
Well, they have a Beadle, don't they?
They have Beadles, yes. Yeah. Which some argue are the country's and London's oldest police force, if you can call them a police force, but not technically. Yeah, but there's always a Beadle at either one or both ends of Burlington Arcade to make sure that you're not...
So what's the other old police force there?
Excuse me. Thames Riverside Police over at Wapping.
Oh, we'll come back to the river in a minute. So tell me about the river police. I did go into the police station on the open house day, found it fascinating.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of piracy and a lot of smuggling and a lot of, the kind of dock hands who weren't really paid a lot. I mean, Wapping's not a very, well, it is now, but it wasn't then a particularly nice area. And they, bit of a backhander, et cetera, so it was extra perks. But in today's money, they were losing between 50 and 60 million pounds a year from piracy, theft, backhanders, smuggling, etc. on the river. And so the Thames Riverside Police was set up, and hundreds of dock hands, once it was set up, went down to torch the place because they were stopping, they were intent on stopping the trade. They were unsuccessful. But yeah, that's the story of the Thames Riverside Police.
Now, while we're on the subject of the Thames, ice fairs.
Frost fairs.
Frost fairs.
Yes.
I haven't been skating on the River Thames ever.
Well, you'd have to go back quite some time if you'd wanted to, because in the span of 250 years, I'm trying to remember, it was from late 16th century to very, very early 19th century, I think, the last Frost Fair. The River Thames at the time was shallow, slow moving, took a while to get through London Bridge, and a shallow, wide, slow moving water would freeze, and you could walk across the river. Yeah,
because of course the turrets, or the arches, I should say, on the old London Bridge, or the pre London Bridge, were very, very narrow. So of course the water took ages to flow through it.
Yeah,
and I believe that the River Thames was much wider than it is now.
Yeah, pre-embankment, and why they put the embankment in for a number of reasons. They put the embankment in, but that made the Thames obviously narrower and deeper.
So when they had these sort of frost fairs, people would go skating, they would eat on there, they would drink on there.
There were kind of hawkers selling various different stuff and games and stuff like that. I've seen films that it's very, very evocative. Yeah. Imagine walking across the River Thames. Yeah. How brilliant would that be? Because we can't do that.
Now, while we were on there's another little fascinating place. How did people used to get across the river?
How did people, not swimming, certainly not swimming. London Bridge, certainly.
Yeah.
Because London Bridge was the only crossing across the river. But apart from that, you would pay the ferryman.
Right. And there is one ferryman's seat left that I know of.
There is, famously, tucked away behind the Greek restaurant.
Near Shakespeare's Globe Theatre.
Yeah, just past it. If you're heading east towards Borough, just past Shakespeare's Globe, on the corner, just down a side road, there is... Just a little stone seat, and that's where the ferryman would have stopped to take you across. Maybe he took Christopher Wren across to as he was kind of masterminding the rebuild of St Paul's. Obviously, if Christopher Wren had waited a few hundred years, he could have walked across Millennium Bridge, because Christopher Wren was based the other side of the river.
Yeah, because he based himself there so he could see St Paul's being built, didn't he? So, what other stories have you got for me? What else can you tell me?
Oh, Joe,
I know there's so much we can talk about. I mean,
it's endless, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I love the fact that it's endless. Do you know What London? Okay, so there's a potential controversial argument about this one, but London's oldest church.
No.
What would you say it was?
I would only be guessing.
Okay, so All Hallows by the Tower claim this right.
Oh, right, do they?
Yeah, and
on
they've got
Bywood Street there, yeah.
Yeah, So when Pepys returned to his house after the fire, because he watched the fire grow from south of the river, he lived not far from All Hallows by the Tower, and he climbed up the spire and he looked out over London. He famously said, "There I saw the saddest sight of desolation I ever saw." So he looked over a kind of destroyed city of London back then. But they claim to be the oldest. But they have parts that are older. But also there's the Priory Church we talked about, St. Bart's, the Priory Church of St. Bartholomew the Great. The reason why St. Bart's, the hospital, was built, and the Priory Church of St. Bartholomew the Great were built because Ray here, the courtier of the king, took a trip to Rome and he had a vision of St. Bartholomew, commanded him to return to London, there to build a hospital and a church to administer to the sick and poor of London. And he did that. Priory Church of St. Bartholomew, I don't know if you've been in there, absolutely amazing. 1123. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, film there. Shakespeare in Love, film there. On and on and on it goes. Their films and television programmes it's been a part of. It's beautiful.
Place. So moving on from people. The Pet Cemetery. Do you know anything at all about the Pet Cemetery? It's a
great Stephen King book.
That's all you know about it?
Yes.
Right, okay. Well, if we come the trip down to West, we go along Bayswater Road.
Okay.
As you come out of the park, Hyde Park, by Victoria Gate, if you look over the wall, you will see all tiny little gravestones. Now, the cemetery closed in, I believe, about 1910. But up to that point, the wealthy from that sort of area, Bayswater, Knightsbridge, Kensington, they had their own little pet cemetery for their beloved animals when they passed away. And again, on that open house day, they actually open the gates to the cemetery and you can go in there.
All right, so it's not publicly available apart from those weekends? No, it's not publicly available.
You can look into it. If you stand at the railings and look in, you can actually see it, but you can't walk around the gravestones except on that open house day they have.
Okay, so they maintain it. How big is this?
It's not very big. I suppose there's maybe 100 to 200 graves in there.
Wow.
But the graves are quite well kept.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing little place.
Okay, that's a good one.
Highest point in London.
Highest point in London. Okay, so is this where we talk about the Panya Boy, possibly? So the highest point in London is, should be St. Paul's Cathedral, but people also argue that it's Cornhill.
No, sorry, I'll probably...
Oh, so I'm talking City of London.
In London itself.
So
Geographically.
Primrose Hill.
It's not Primrose Hill. It's actually Whitestone Pond at Hampstead by Jack Straw's Castle there. At that moment, you're at the highest point in London.
Right.
Now, the lowest point, it's arguable, but common mythology has it that it's actually along the Walworth Road.
So it's lower than the Thames?
It's at that point, you are slightly lower than the Thames.
Right. Okay.
So it would, if the Thames...
It's the first one to flood.
Would be just the first area to flood. So they say.
Okay.
Now, as we said at the start of this, remember a lot of these are myths that have been passed down, handed around, but they're interesting stories because they're timeless. Do you know what I mean? And you see this, and we'll probably leave here, and we'll think, oh, we should have mentioned that. I've got another one. Nazi Memorial in London.
Yeah, this was odd when when this was posed as a quiz question, where is the Nazi Memorial in London? I'm like, why on earth would there be a Nazi Memorial in London? But of course, it's to the dog.
It is, von Ribbentrop's dog. Yeah, apparently he weed up a electric lamppost and electrocuted himself. Von Ribbentrop was heartbroken and he put this little plaque thing there to the memorial of the dog. Gyro was the dog. Gyro, the Nazi dog.
Okay.
So that's just...
Although, to be fair to the dog, where Nazism is a political ideology, I'm sure the dog just loved his master and wasn't really a Nazi.
Yeah, point taken. Yeah, point taken.
Unfair for Gyro, I think.
And again, going back over, I do like to fly all over London. Going back to the sort of Bayswater area, where do you believe is the smallest house in London?
Smallest house? This This pops up on social media a lot, but I don't know. Are you saying it's in Bayswater?
It is. It can be, because obviously there's lots of new builds going up that people are attempting to, convert small spaces into houses. But traditionally, it's next to the Tyburn Convent on Bayswater Road.
Okay, and how small is it?
When I'm saying small. It's tall, but it's narrow. Very, very narrow. So if you're looking for it, it's on Bayswater Road, right next to the Tyburn Convent.
Right. Could you stand in it with your arms outstretched?
You possibly couldn't, no.
Right. So then my next measure is swinging cats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not swinging cats
not
either.
Swinging cats. No, most definitely not. You would not be able to do that.
Blimey.
Yeah. We got any others that you think I should know about before we?
You probably already do know about them. I'm sure. The seven ancient gates of the walled city of London. The dragons, or are they griffins?
Well, I got told off by somebody for calling them griffins. Somebody said they're dragons.
The Corporation of the City of London refer to them on their website as griffins.
They do.
However, I know, and maybe you do, that a griffin mythologically is half lion and half eagle. When I look at these things, they don't look like griffins to me, because griffins have got they're kind of almost like a beak.
Yeah, no, point taken. And
I think they're dragons.
Yeah. Okay. Let's end up with football. One of my favourite things.
Okay, some quirky things about football.
Well, who's the oldest football club in London? Professional football club, I should say.
Right, okay. The oldest professional football club in London, I'm going to go with QPR.
No, it's not. It's
Fulham.
Actually Fulham.
It's Fulham.
Well, second guess, you're right. Yes, it's Fulham.
Sorry, I did know it was Fulham.
Yeah. The oldest senior football club used to be Leighton on Leabridge Road, but sadly they went into liquidation about 5 or 6 years ago at the Hare and Hounds, so they're no longer there. So it is actually Fulham is the oldest football club in London.
Are you saying Leighton Orient?
No, Leighton, not as opposed to Leighton Orient.
Right.
They're two different. There were two different teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, they went out of business, so the oldest football club left in London is Fulham.
Okay, there's got to be some quirky London football stories out there.
Oh, there's far too many to go into, I think. Yeah, some very strange and oddities about football. Let's change once more, one last little thing. Have you got any other information you think I should know before we depart?
Think that you should know?
Yeah, anything you think I don't know that I should know.
Why? How many pods are there on the London Eye and why?
I haven't got a clue, but I hope you're about to tell me.
Right, so if I tell you the answer, if I tell you how many, you might then work out. There are 32 pods.
Is that to do with the number of London boroughs?
Yeah, or at least that's the story. 32 boroughs, 32 pods.
Oh, right, it's a good guess, wasn't it?
Yeah.
OK, on that happy note, we'll depart company. Great to see you.
You too.
Thank you.